Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics special Easter Monday round review show. I'm your host, Bales, and you can find BAILSDT across the socials, and we are recording after the completion of round 4. As you can see, not too many of us are on the round review show tonight, but I do have another fantasy fanatic to jump on to chat through all that happened in round 4, and that is Tom. Tom, mate, fantasy's fun, isn't it? It's just very, very fun. Like we don't have our weekends ruined by an injured captain or leaving one of your only tons as a rookie on the bench. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I've had it. My team's rubbish, but I think I've had it slightly less bad than some this week. Um, it's just if you're here listening and staying engaged, you're winning in my book because if your team is away from the template, you're probably having a great time. But the template team, the content creators team that we all have a variation of is, for want of a better word, rubbish so far this year. I
I
think.
don't know if it's. I don't know about rubbish. It's just that with the injuries and just the
Well,
amount of crap that's
yeah,
happened. But
yeah,
like, welcome
yeah,
everyone to the Fantasy Fanatics therapy session. Is probably how we should be.
yeah. This is
Maybe got
well,
to name it moving forward because like last week was a bit better, but still some people had like your Tristan Sherry's right, and we couldn't just get through another week of without forced issues, right? Like, and it's always why is it always on the Sunday? It's always on the like last week. Cherry was on the Saturday night, but it's always on the Sunday. Like it's getting pathetic. Like Sunday, most of us are just relaxing, watching a bit of the footy, get ready for like the dreaded work Monday. Obviously, this week a bit different with the public holiday, but it just Sunday it's like a punch square in the face. So, but we're here. We're here to review everything that is round 4 for you guys, and we will go through our horrible scores and our ranks. So, Tom, do you want to start us off? How did you score in round 4? What was your round rank and over rank?
yeah. So I scored a 1663, which I think is about average. I had a round rank of 25k, and because my overall rank is rubbish, I had a green arrow up to 19k. Yay.
Yeah, yeah. I did a bit worse than that, unfortunately. So I scored the flat 1600, so exactly on the dot, which at least I cut 1600,
It
right? So
it
that's
looks
okay.
better than 1599 Bales. It looks
Yeah,
better than
yeah,
1599.
yeah, it does, 100%. But that was a round rank 45,500, which is, as you said, right? You scored 1663. There's 20,000 spots between us, right? And it's only 60 points. So
Yeah.
everyone was around that 16 to 1700. Obviously, you had some good teams that did go above 1700 that went well this week. And thankfully, stuck inside the top 30K. So 29,466. So down, what, roughly 4,000 spots. I think that's probably where I have it. So, yeah, obviously disappointing one, but obviously there was a big major factor there. So, yeah, down 5,000 spots, 24,400 odd to 29,400 odd. So, not great, but yeah, could have been, I think, a lot worse. We'll go to our plus and minus threes now. Tom, who gets those for you this week?
Well, I'm going to give my +3 to somebody who is in my team, but was the only player in my team not to actually score this week for me. Um, and it also goes into my -3 as well, and that's Jacob Farrow getting a three-figure score, and me in my infinite content creating, supposed hat winning expert decided to field Lockie Blackiston over Jacob Farrow. There was reasons like time on ground and being around the ball and all those really things that comes out of my mouth. But yeah, get 100, get that cash gen going is great. -3. I mean, -3. I'm going to give it for the first 4 weeks of the year and to myself for still having him to Darcy Parish. 56 in 3 quarters. Um, because he didn't score in the last quarter. I actually thought for 3 quarters he was probably Essendon's best midfielder, or best clearance midfielder anyway. He was the only one that looked like getting a clearance in that midfield for them, and then just started jogging in the centre square, away from the ball. I should have got rid of him this week, and that was a mistake on my part. But the good coaches who didn't start him, absolutely amazing, and go well.
Yeah, exactly. My plus and minus 3. I'm going to give my +3. Back-to-back weeks, he's going to get it. He didn't play this week, but Lockie Whitfield, bringing him in last week, kissed, right? A little bit kissed, right? You get a rookie pop score, but Josh Sarong on the bench, 105. If I didn't bring Whitfield in last week, I wouldn't have had a way to get that score. So getting Whitfield in, it's worked out well for my own side, right? You get that rookie pop score in the bye week. You get the good score for him last week. So all in all, I'm fairly happy with that one there with him. So well done, Josh on there as well. Continues that cash in. His break-in was starting to sort of creep up a little bit in the positives. If he scored another 50, it might have been like 30-odd, but get that 100 this week. That break-in's going to stay right down, and he's going to continue to make cash for us. So really nicely done by Josh Sarong. -3. Look, I could go through a lot of names, right? There's a lot of poor scores. Like Tom, I don't know about you, but I only had, what was it, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tons, which might have even been more than some because there weren't many tons flying around. But my -3, probably would have gone to Blackson, but he was on my bench, so it didn't actually matter too much. No, I'm going to give it Zach Butters. Zach Butters gets my -3. 84. So few people had him captain this week. So again, there's a lot of poor captain scores out there. So if you've got a good score, you're in a really good spot. But the reason I'm giving Zach Butters a -3 is for his first month, right? Port could not have asked for a more easier month to start the season, having North Melbourne, Essendon, West Coast, and Richmond. And we've got one score over 95 to start it. And that was the 144 against the Bombers. But Rosie being out is a big factor, I think, in this. I think when Butters is just there on his own and he gets the attention, he just doesn't have that safe floor that some other preems have got to get to just at least a low ton. He's still got a lot of disposals, but there's just not. I think he's had one combined tackle in the last 2 weeks, and he just isn't getting really many of those marks. So, yeah, disappointing when we paid over about 100 for him. He's averaging 101.5, so it's not the end of the world, but we wanted certainly more. And if you went for, say, like a Will Ashcroft, for example, instead of him, you'd be pretty happy with the results so far. That was just one example that you could have gone. Let's go over to the Content Creators Cup, and had another loss, 5 points to Holmesy. We both had the English captain bullet. Parrish was stinking up as unique for him, and I thought I'd be in with a chance for that, but unfortunately 5-point loss. So now I'll move to 1 and 3. So I still haven't had a good start in the Content Creators Cup, I think, of all the years we've done it. I think I had one decent start where I obviously made the grand final, but every other year I've started behind the 8 ball. But it is what it is. Tom, how did you go in your matchup? And then you want to run us through the rest of the matchups before we get into the games recap.
Yeah, so I am kissed.
You win again.
I won again. I'm 4-0, guys. I am leading the Content Creators Cup with a comfortable win over Jordox. Jordox with a 1577. Some will say that is the reason why he's not on the podcast this week is because I knocked him off in the Content Creators Cup. Others will say he's busy with family, but I think he's just avoiding me. So yeah, I beat him by about 85 points there. Guesty had a really, really good round, 1740, knocking off. Is that Louis?
Louis. Yeah, third top scorer for Guesty.
Yeah, knocking off Louis. Yeah, very nice. Vams knocks off DT Lemon in the Battle of the Brains, but with 2 low scores, 1582 to 1503 for DT Lemon. Luke from the Ball Boys got off the mark with his first win of the year, with another low scoring of 1564 to 1506.
That means everyone's got to win, which is shows how
it does mean everyone's got to win.
Everyone's got to win.
Yeah. DC from Hatcher had a nice score, 1691, beat Jordy from Pod 1670. Bozzy Spuds, our viewer entrant, had a lovely win over Mitchman with a 1744 against Mitch, who got 1700 flat. Harmy had a win over Minimonk, 1618 to 1529. The only other unbeaten coach coming into this week, Taezer, had a disappointing week, losing to Nathan from Hat Chat, 1673 to 1523. And the highest score of the week in the Content Creators Cup, Jake from Hat Chat with a massive
Huge week.
1793, beat Jeppers 1593. So a nice 200-point win there. And all that you need to know is I am top. And that's it.
Yeah, no, congrats to Jake. I'm sure I'll be chatting about this throughout the. Obviously, we got gather round, so it's a great week for Jake to go really, really well. So, yeah, no, congrats to Jake with a massive score. Well, let's get into the games recap brought to you by Game Day Squad. Obviously, if you guys haven't heard of Game Day Squad already, it's the ultimate dynasty platform and another fantasy platform out there for you guys to get involved in. Obviously, with Fantasy Classic, we got to make trades every week, and if you're in a rut, you can't fix your team, then you sort of just got to keep paying through. Right? The beautiful thing about Game Day Squad is you can reset your lineup every single week. There's weekly prizes, big prizes. Well, like for example, I came first in the Classic Cup last week, got a nice prize there. So if you guys want to win prizes like that and get involved in Game Day Squad, head to gamedaysquad.com.au and use the code BAILSDT at sign up, and you get yourself 3 extra packs to get your Game Day Squad journey started. So it's a good fun there. Multiple sports as well, including like the IPL that's going on as well for anyone that's into a bit of cricket there. And you've got your rugby league as well as on there. So a multitude of different sports. So go and check out the guys at Game Day Squad. Let's get into the game. So we'll start off on Thursday night. And it was another, was it, no, sorry, I was thinking that that was the Crows game, but that was Friday night. Thursday night was Brisbane and Collingwood, and Brisbane getting a big win there. And I think the big drama before this game, Tom, was Nick Dacos and the late out of him there. We heard that he got a corky in the game the week before, and that he was on light duties throughout the week. But watching that vision before the game, I was like, "There's no chance he's playing." Like, he could barely run, and obviously it was a real slap in the face to start for all those coaches that jumped on in the week before or even started him. The hope is right that he's going to be there this week, right? But yeah.
Well, he trained today. He fully trained today by reports. So I think it's almost certain he's going to be back. Should be right to play Freo this weekend, when I assume he'll run into a Corey Wagner tag. So
yeah, because based on the fact that he got it last year in the first game and he kept him quiet, and then didn't get in the last game and he went absolutely nuts. I know Freo won that game, right? But they'll go, well, we don't want to be beaten by Nick Dacos. So I do think that there will be some attention there this week, and I think a few of us will be in attendance for that game, watching that very closely. So it will be very interesting to see how that does go. But top scorer from this game, though, the players that did play, was Will Ashcroft, 127, back-to-back 120s. And he has been a very, very good pick for those that started him. Just to watch, they play North this week. I think Finn O'Sullivan's got a bit of a jaw concern, so we're not sure on the extent if there's any damage or anything like that yet. But if he's not there, obviously Will Ashcroft won't be breathing a sigh of relief because there won't be a tag. Because I think, Tom, I don't know about you, but I think that Will Ashcroft, at least while McCluggage isn't there, I think he's the guy you got to stop, right? He's the one that's their best midfielder at the moment.
Oh, he was absolutely awesome in this game. Stepped up, showed why he's getting towards the main man in that midfield for this Brisbane side, and he definitely made me look up and take attention to just how good he was. Filled all the stat lines. Filled 3 of the stat lines, only 1 tackle. But 127, good tog as well, which has been a problem in the past at times. 87% is absolutely elite. I just wish other coaches would look at the way Brisbane do their rotations, because you look down the list, all their good players had 80+%. Some of the teams don't quite get that right. And that's like 87% for Will Ashcroft's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. What do we got here? Dane Zorko, 116, just absolutely smashed it in the last quarter. There was looking a little bit not dicey, I want to say, but it wasn't getting his piggery stats around the ground that I thought he was going to against Collingwood. And I was thinking, oh, okay, maybe I did an okay thing not VCing him, but I still wanted to go well because I brought him in last week, paid that top dollar for him, but he came through with a 51-point last quarter, as the traders call it, the big whopper there in the last quarter. So he was absolutely fantastic to get the 116. If you took that as a VC, you're probably thinking, oh, I've got to take it, don't I? But 116 is not great, but turned out to be a really good score as a captain this week because a lot of captains.
It was my highest score.
Didn't even get the ton. So, yeah, no, nicely done. And that's just, right, that's saying how bad the round was, right? That was some of, well, I think it was my top score as well. A lot of our top scorers there. Kitty Coleman, 109. Okay, let's talk about Kitty Coleman. 109 was fantastic. Like, looked brilliant. Like, his tackling pressure as well was great. Obviously got some chip around the back, right? But all the Brisbane defenders do get that at times. Well, a lot of us aren't going to be in the boat probably of getting an upgrade this week because we'll talk about Tim English later, but he's got to go. A lot of people don't have Jacob Farrow, so I think he's pretty much a must bring in because of the fact his break-even so low. But if you're in a good spot like yourself, Tom, that you've already got Jacob Farrow, is Kitty Coleman someone that you're looking at with a nice run for Brisbane coming up?
He's definitely on the list. So he will go up approximately 65k and will be around that 675-ish price tag. Like, this game was the most Kitty Coleman game you'll ever see. He was everywhere in that first half. Intercept marks. Like, anytime anyone was near him, they dropped the ball so he could get a tackle. Some great tackles. Lots of free cheap marks. And then he did Kitty Coleman. He went absolutely missing for a quarter and a half and got some junk time late. So I definitely think he's a great option. I definitely think you can bring him in. I don't think he is crucial. Just depend. He got a lot of free marks on the switch, which did help bump his score, which is obviously fantastic. So I think he is a very good bring-in, but I also don't think he is absolutely critical.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one there as well. Dan Houston responded, 106, good score, 9 kick-ins as well, which is good to see because the week before it was the kick-ins were split between a lot of players, and I was sort of thinking, Craig McRae came out postseason and said he's going to take all the kick-ins. We want to get the ball in his hands. And I thought, well, that didn't look like the story last week, but it was certainly the story this week. 32 touches, looked good. I think we're just going to continue to hold him through there, and I think he's going to continue to go on his merry way there. Josh Dunkley, another poor score, 79. He's going to get cheap. One to watch as the game probably slows down when it gets a bit colder and that. But for the time being, while the game's quick and like this, I don't think he'll be the option. Josh Dacos, low score, 78. But again, he had 25 touches there still, only had the 2 marks and got stuck off on the bench for like the last 9 minutes of the game. So if you got Josh Dacos, no worries there. He still looked great. So I'd still be holding him through there as well. Darcy Cameron with a 50. If you didn't jump off him, which I'm sure a lot of you did, but if you didn't, he does have to go. While he does share with Oscar Steen there, who dropped to 46, which is just on your bench making a little bit of money anyway. And then Ty Gallop, 48, took some chip marks around there, which was all right. So he got a little bit of cash gen there, which wasn't too bad. Moving over to the North Melbourne and Carlton game. So it would have thought Carl Daniel, top scorer with a 115. He's actually had a very good start to this. If you've got him in draft, you'd be very, very happy with his output so far. Nick Newman looked good. His return, 92. They wanted, and you could tell the difference that it made with the ball in his hands. He's a very good kick of the football. He hits targets, unlike a lot of the Carlton defenders where they just either hoof it long or don't have the good skills by foot and they turn it over. I personally would prefer him over Kitty Coleman, because I think he is the main guy to Carlton's defence. I don't think you have to go there this week because of the Adelaide matchup, but he's the one for me that I'm pretty keen to jump on in the following week. If you're looking there, Tom, your thoughts on Newman?
I'm a little bit more wary. Just looking at who scored for Carlton, you had Jordan Boyd with an 87, Ollie Hollands off halfback with 106. I just wonder whether there's a bit more ball back there than there usually or maybe often is. 78% game time is okay. I'm probably going to fade Newman. I'm not as bullish. I don't see him going 3 figures, if I'm honest.
Well, he's priced like 80. Priced like 80, right? If he goes mid-90s.
Yeah, but I don't see him.
Also tough matchup.
Yeah, you say that, but two very average defenders and Newman have all scored really well. So I don't know if this game was a bit different, just being two rubbish sides against each other. Yeah, I think I prefer Kiddie over Newman, and you're going to save 100k doing that as well. Getting a player in a better team who scored lots and lots of fancy points over shopping in Carlton, which I don't think is where I want to be shopping.
Yeah, I think you could definitely watch Newman another week as well, right? Crows this week, tough matchup. If he goes another 90 again, I'll be pretty happy to jump on. But I think a lot of us will not be able to jump on many of the players that we'd be targeting because we've all got forced trades once again. Chloe McKercher, 84. Half time, I was thinking, how good's this? 66 points at the half, and then just 18 points went missing, got burnt a lot in the second half. I think he gave up. The thing, right, like people were talking about the whole Clarko incident, right? I thought it was pretty crap, to be honest. Looking at that, you don't go up and punch a player in the chest, essentially. I know he's trying to rev his players up, but I don't know. I feel like that's we're not in that era anymore. And Colby certainly didn't respond to it because I think he would have only got maybe 3 or 4 touches in that last quarter, if that. So it was a disappointing second half for Colby. I still like him as an option. I think he's a good option to be bringing in, particularly obviously how good looked in the first half. But I think he only had like 80 meters gained in the first half with 18 touches. So it was a lot of chipping around sort of the back. So it wasn't too sort of damaging by foot in that game. But yeah, I think it was a bit of a struggle in the second half there. But I think North Melbourne as a whole didn't score a huge amount of points, right? Because you're looking at like Daniels, Stevens, and Trembath went over 90. Wardlaw, 87. He was fantastic, by the way. Like, an amazing player when he's fit, and hopefully he can stay fit for a number of games. But even Harry Sheasel, 81. A lot of people, including myself, are very angry at Harry Sheasel. He kicked the winner, which is great, but we needed a 110, so he didn't have to be stuck with Tim English as captain. So that was certainly very, very frustrating there. LDU, 80. Unfortunately, this is just the LDU experience.
This is LDU.
He goes 120, you go 80, you go a few 90s, you go 70. Like, he's just, unfortunately, I don't think he's ever going to be a consistent fantasy player that we need him to be. So if you've got him, you hold, you don't trade, but he's obviously not a target if you are looking to be jumping on him there. Sam Welsh, 78, he's fine, got the Finn O'Sullivan tag, so he'll be fine moving forward. I still think he worked really hard and got a few good +6s there, just didn't quite get as many touches with that extra attention that he got there. Crows, look what they've given up last few weeks to some of these midfielders, right? So I think Welsh is going to have a fairly decent game there, but Carlton as a whole aren't going to be a huge scoring fantasy team, so maybe his ceiling is capped to a certain extent. Jagger Smith, 57, a little bit more of a quieter game, played a bit more forward. Don't think it's going to be enough for forward status unless he played full 100% forward time against the Crows.
Yeah, but it's going to be that's a one to watch. Just because I think we've all locked in Jagger Smith for 5-6 more weeks sitting on field for us. But the return of Adam Chera definitely changed the look of that Carlton midfield. I know in like the first quarter, or the first half, Chera had 10 CBAs and Jagger only had 2. And then Walsh got moved forward to avoid the tag, and Jagger came a bit more into the midfield, and his scoring bumped up as a result. So it's just a little watch. I'm not saying trade off him yet, but he might be one that we're looking to move on a bit quicker than what we initially thought about moving on.
Yeah, exactly. Moving over to the Good Friday game, and this is the Crows and Freo game. Another close loss for the Crows. Same story for 3 weeks in a row. Became wrong. 124 was brilliant once again. I think that there's going to be some good mid scores against the Crows. Obviously, the Crows don't tag, so there's the ability for them to go well. And Sarong definitely chimed in there. His tackling's been impressive this year, something that he hasn't done a lot in previous years. Another 8 tackles there for his 124. He was brilliant. But I think the story, Tom, from this game was the Rob experiment did not work, and it failed probably like I thought it was going to go, right? It was purely 65% for McAndrew on field, 35% for Rob. It was just ruck and bench. I thought that was going to be what would be happening. Didn't expect it to go the way it did. McAndrew looked fantastic. 113 points, 13 tackles. He was brilliant. And Rob, on the other hand, made that error, put Freo in front. Whether it cost the Crows the lead, right? But whether it cost them the game, I think there was a lot of other things that went wrong in there. But Rob won't be there, I don't think. And McAndrew will be there. But even if Rob is there, Tom, I think McAndrew's still fine, right? He's still pumping out.
100%. And I know on Friday mornings podcast, and last week I was saying I was getting McAndrew out of R2, and I was bringing in Grundy, who we'll talk about in a minute, did very, very well. It was a good decision. Would have been a good decision to trade him in, especially with English now out. That'll be quite useful. So I don't know what Nix is doing. I don't know why you'll play somebody as a chop out ruck who only has position of ruck and then give him a 65-35 split. Like if the Crow's got an injury, then what are you going to, how's the rotations going to work? Like it's just bizarre coach. I don't rate Nix as a coach particularly. I think you've got a very good list, and the coach isn't doing much with it, especially in the big tight games. I know there's a few missing for the Crows, but McAndrew can sit at R2 for as long as he's viable, I suppose.
He's got his buy in round 12, right? First buy. So maybe that's when we look at jumping off.
I hope I would jump off before that. I don't see him as I know he's just gone 80, 90, 110. I see him more as an 80 guy. So there is an upgrade to make there.
That's fine, right?
At some point.
There's
an upgrade to make there at some point in the future. But yeah, he's absolutely fine. That break even is going to be reset super low. Well, he's going to be absolutely flying up in price.
Yeah, exactly. Some good scores for draft as well. Brayshaw 103, a few classic owners as well there as well. Peatling pre-played his best game, I thought, for the Crows, 101. So he was very, very good. Probably should have passed to Cookie to set up maybe a game-winning shot there, but unfortunately not the case. Then John Dawson with 100. He's back in, kicked a couple of goals, looked all right. He'll be a target at some point, but he's going to come down a little bit in price for us. So just a one to watch there as well. Wayne Miller, very good game. Like games like this in round one, I don't understand why that, like, it's frustrating how the Crows, they don't care who takes the kick-ins. They don't have a designated kicker. They really should be making Wayne Miller the designated kicker, and he should be a 90-plus averaging defender for us, but he's going to be a little bit up and down. But you take the very good score that he had this week, and we move to the next week. Jackson, 97, good score if you have here and there as well. Murphy Reid with a 91. He was a pick.
He was. Murphy Reid owners, well done.
Sometimes it's just they may have a bad role, but if the player is just a good footballer, you pick them. And Murphy Reid is a good footballer, and like watching him in person, and the number of times in front of me as well, right in front of me, he would get open and free and just peel away from his defender and just get into open space. He's just a very, very smart footballer. It's
just another kind of Graham Myers, Dylan Moore style.
Yeah.
Kind of small forward who, especially in a team with Sarong, Brayshaw, Young when fit, he's never going to get really tight, locked down on him. So he's always going to be open for those. If you've got him, absolutely fantastic. Good to you.
Yeah, exactly. Rochelle, 88 was solid as well. Solid enough score there. Just 19 touches there for him. Played a bit more forward. I think it was in the third quarter, but still had plenty of CBAs there. So he's still a good option moving forward. You're probably too late if you haven't jumped on now, but if you've got him there, you'd be pretty happy with him still punching out some fairly solid scores. Shea Bond, 66. One mark, one tackle does hurt a lot. With that, if you brought him in this week. So I know that you'd be happy that Jordox brought him in this week because you got the win. That helped you. It certainly helps you get the win. Isaac Rankin, 63. 3 behinds as well. He's going to continue to get cheap, so he's going to be someone just to keep an eye on. I think it's only a matter of time before he does spend a bit more time in the midfield there. Got some CBAs, particularly in the second half, I think, as well. It was only the 5, but there was a little bit there. I think that'll start to build over the next fortnight there. I know a few people probably think he should be in there a lot more already.
Yeah.
But
hopefully another player who's going to getting very cheap is Jordan Clark. 69 from Jordan Clark. He's going to be flying down in price. If Freo's game style through the winter changes, slows down a little bit more ball possession, he definitely will become an option at a cheap discounted price. At the minute, it's not an option. That Freo game style isn't there for those attacking halfbacks, but if we see a shift through the year, he's getting very, very cheap.
Yeah. Cook 56 was okay. Didn't have much, I think, in the last quarter. He's good in patches, but he'll be someone that you probably don't want to field if you can help it. I think one rookie in the forward line's fine. This is partly why I went for Cozzy Pickett in my team last week. I didn't want to have 2 rooks in the forward line on field, but then again, I probably didn't want 3 in the midfield at the moment. I probably only wanted 2, but there's going to have to be one or the other. So maybe I've got to loop between a couple, unless maybe Track's back this week, which would be a massive, massive help for my own side there. And yeah, like Luke Ryan had a bad score as well there with the 36. So showing the Crows' defensive matchup is still a tough matchup there with obviously Clark as well struggling. Let's move to the Saturday games. We'll start Richmond and Port Adelaide. So only 1 ton this game, another bad fantasy game, and probably just another bad game in general. Darcy Byrne-Jones. You had him on your bingo card as the only ton scorer in this game. Congrats to you. Jaiden Short, 98. I think this is going to continue, Tom. He looks hungry. He looks like he wants these short kicks. He takes kick-ins. Like, maybe he's not an upgrade now, but maybe later in the year when we're trying to look to complete our defense, he's going to be there or thereabouts. I think he's going to be a top 8 to 10 defender, maybe just outside. But your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we've missed him now. Much like I said earlier with Carlton, I just don't want to be buying into Richmond. Richmond do not score any points. And as a result, Jaiden Short's average, what we need him to score, priced at over $1 million, is we need him to score average 3 figures plus. And that's a huge market share in a team that averages so few points. Maybe his luxury trade with a good run later in the year, possibly. But if you've got him, great bring in, if you started him, then you're absolutely flying, because that was a great starting pick.
Yeah, exactly. Zach Butters, 84, obviously unders again, and I'm a bit scared this week. Saints in the final game of Gather Round. I think this could be a windy tag. I think Ross will be circling that going. Who do you stop at Port? Zach Butters, circle the name round. I think Windy goes to him this week and keeps him quiet. So that's going to be another potential low score. But then again, it's no guarantee. We'll have to see. But
I see Hugo Garcia going. I don't see Windy. I see Hugo Garcia going.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, one of the two.
Windy doesn't really do. Windy's more of the mid-forward guy now, and Hugo Garcia is more of the stoppage guy. But still, I think someone's going to go and stand next to him, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah. I do think, though, that Garcia probably won't be able to do a great job on Butters. I think that they may make a change potentially in the sinker if they got that lever to pull. So they got one of those two will go to him. And that's a good Damon. That's probably a good point there. Maybe Windy does go to Horn Francis and follows in defense. That's probably a better matchup. So yeah, no, I probably agree with that. But a tag coming nonetheless. Sam Grill, he's going to be a very good fantasy player, I think, in the future. Just the observable thirst. Shout out to Dossie again. He just wants the ball. He just absolutely wants it, and got some CBAs, particularly in the second half there, and look pretty good in there. So if he gets a sprinkling of CBAs, plays off the wing half back, he's going to continue to score fairly well. So I think he is another rookie that I think is safe to leave on the field, because they put him in spots to score, and he just wants the ball. So he continues to impress as a first-year player. Banks, 72, if you got him, he's got to be a trader. And Tim Taranto was on 37 at quarter time, and I was thinking, I looked at him for a little bit as my in this week, but decided against it. And last 3 quarters was the reason I decided against it, because he had 31 points and absolutely went missing. So, yeah, very, very up and down, and just not an option for our classic sides there. Lawless, a solid enough 62 there. Birdman to 51, but we all traded off of him anyway. And Watkins, far out, 21. Like, I do wonder, is his spot maybe under threat? He just didn't have any impact. He had no marks, no tackles, 21 points. That'd just be the worry. But at least he made some cash. But yeah, you certainly would have wanted a bit more, especially if you did put him on field. Moving to the next game, unfortunately, Tom, Eagles weren't able to follow up their 2 previous wins. And I think just shows the distance between the good teams and the bad teams. But West Coast, Sydney with a massive win there, and Brody Grundy, 137. We'll chat about him after, because there's one big question I think we have this week, which we'll chat about him in the next game. Isaac Heaney, 126. I thought you could have definitely gone there this week. I didn't look at it as much because coming off the injury, but far out, 126 looked absolutely fantastic.
We gave him the freedom of Optus Stadium. I'm going to go a bit off my long one about the Eagles. I thought for the first half especially, the scoreline, our performance wasn't as bad as the scoreline, but our team defense was non-existent whatsoever. As soon as Sydney beat the initial pressure on the ball at a stoppage, if they got out, it was goal. It was horrendous. We put nobody to Isaac Heaney at all. I can't see that happen. That's not going to happen every week. Gold Coast will be fine this week. GWS aren't going to let him run free. The Bulldogs aren't, or might not like tag him per se, but they're much better structured to stop him just absolutely running riot out of stoppage. So he's definitely an option.
He's under $1 million as well, so he's dropped.
He's dropped, and now he'll go back up. He's definitely an option. I'm shopping in the midfield this week, I think. So I'm definitely looking at as a potential option for me this week.
Yeah. Bicey, Bryce 108. That's just so annoying. Why did he not put up a better score in opening round? It's funny, like we love it. We hate opening round, right? But we also, as a fantasy coach, we go, opening round's okay because we get these rookies, we go look at them, we get to look at these mid prices. But sometimes there's mid prices we're keen on that just don't put up a good score in opening round. You just fade them, right? And Bice, if you started with him, has been a fantastic pick. He was the mid-price pick in the defense to start there. So he was great again, 108. Okay, jumped up in the last quarter, but Bice can certainly do that. So very good score from him. Josh,
I think he's gone now. Though.
Oh no, he's gone. Yeah, you're not targeting him now. He's well into the 700s. You're not targeting him anymore. Josh Sarong was fantastic. Ball following him. He was on the hot wing, and then went to defense in the more in the second half with Melican out with a bit of soreness. I think he copped a knock on his knee, maybe or cuff or something. But he was out for the most of the second half. Sarong was like the third man back there, and he just got a few chip marks there, so he was good. But he was good in the first half anyway, so it wasn't like he just jumped it up when he went back there. Justin McInerney did probably save the score. I think it was on quite a low score at halftime, but came home, really won the second half. But 96, you're certainly very happy with that score there. We've got McCarthy there with a 77. Durs with a 63. Tom, I know you're a West Coast fan, but I think he looked great in the CBAs in the second half. And maybe it changes with Dev Rob and a few other guys come back. But I almost feel like, could they make the shift of Dersma just get... I think he's got more CBAs. He was great. He got clearances. He was obviously clean with the ball. That goal that he kicked from 50 was obviously a fantastic as well. I think that he's going to be a guy that if you've got him, can safely be put on field at M7, M8. I think they're going to put him in positions to succeed and get points. And I think there could even be a slight midfield bump, at least moving forward, like maybe 5 to 10 a game.
Yeah. I think he's fine. Desma. I think the guy are going to look after him a little bit. I don't think they are going to chuck him in the midfield for full games. I think he'll get battered and bruised.
Yeah, quarters though. There'll be quarters where I think he spends.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's definitely going to get a fair sprinkle, but he's not going to be in there. I doubt he'll be in there full time, just because we don't want to kill him in his first year. I think I've got more meat on my little finger than he has on his body. So,
certainly doesn't matter because he's a bloody good footballer and uses his skills very, very well. Not Xavier Lindsay, Josh Lindsay, the other Lindsay variety, with a 55. Just a 55's okay. He gave away 4 free kicks, I think it was, which is incredibly frustrating. A couple of high tackles. I think you're worried. I'm not as worried. Like he used the ball. He uses the ball well.
No, okay. Don't take up. I'm going to talk about real football for a minute. Some of his defensive efforts are horrendous. Like, he's a good kick. He's an amazing kick. Like, and I would prefer him in the team over Liam Duggan. I don't think he's going to be in the team over the co-captain. And some of his defensive efforts was really, really poor. And I hope he doesn't get dropped. I hope he learns on the job. I just worry going forward, especially when there's some games we might be able to win, that he might not get the nod and we might go for a more defensively minded player.
If that happens, I'm going to hit the roof because I bloody started with him, traded him out, brought him back in, and if he gets dropped again, I'm going to absolutely lose my shit.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't, and I don't own him. I really hope he stays in the side, and I think he'll be absolutely fine to to keep like I think he'll score really well when he plays. I'm just a little bit scared that defensively he's quite poor.
Yeah, well, Minnie, if you're watching this, there are plenty of other players that were worse than Josh Lindsay. So
yes,
I'll be
yes,
dropping
there
them
were.
before. So.
Matt always, please get out of the club.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it from that game. So we'll move over to the Sunday games, which is Melbourne and Gold Coast. And Melbourne, far out, they've certainly got the game clicking a lot quicker than what I thought they were going to, and they look great once again. And the question of the week, Tom, Max Gawn or Brodie Grundy for Tim English? Because Tim English is a trade, right? He's out for, they said 3 to 6 weeks, but I don't know, that the wording around all the injury, it sounds like they're sort of like, it's an MCL injury, right? But I think this could be closer to the 6 than the 3 from what they've said. They're not going to rush him back, I don't think. He's their prize ruck. They don't really have much other ruck depth. I think they're going to be okay, at least. Maybe not this week, but actually, no, they've got a tough run actually coming up. So, but that's probably for 3-4 weeks, right? But Max Gawn versus Brodie Grundy is the question, because Max Gawn in a really tough matchup just went amazing once again. And some of the matchups he's got, 2 of the next 3, right? Essendon and Richmond. And I know people are going to say that the Essendon matchup isn't great, but Blackiston moved into defence in the last quarter, right? Nick Bryan's played 2 VFL games. I wonder if Nick Bryan comes in this week with Blackiston to go up against Gawn and do the dual team there. But I think that that's going to be even better for Max Gawn. And then he comes up against a ruckless Richmond in a fortnight.
It'll be Peter Wright. Peter Wright looks way better than Blackiston in the ruck.
Yes, it could be Brian and Brian and Wright, and then put Blackiston in defence where he did move into this. I think more of the last quarter, but there. So who is it? Is it Grundy or is it Gawn?
Because Zach Reed went off injured. So lockout is lifted, as people in the chat have said, and I just want to say what the price difference is. So the price difference. So Brodie Grundy didn't move cash. Actually, he stayed exactly where he was. There is 186k between them. I don't think I can pay 186k extra for Gawn over Grundy. So I think I'll be Grundy, and I understand it's Wits next for Grundy, and I understand that. It's definitely more what I can do on the other end, because I can go from my side. I can go. I've got cash so I can do other trades. I personally would go Grundy over Gawn. And that might be wrong. I've been wrong a lot in this season, but that's just my opinion.
It's a tough one. It's a tough decision to make, right? I've been keen on Gawn for a couple of weeks, so I think I'm leaning towards Gawn at this moment in time. But if you look at the runs for both, they're both not too bad, right? You look at Gawn, his upcoming run. So obviously next week's got Essendon, and I think it's going to be fine because I don't think Baggerson's going to be just the sole ruck there, and Gawn's unlike most other rucks going up against Baggerston. Gawn is still the premier ruck of the competition, and he has his way pretty much with everyone. So I think he's fine. Brisbane, a bit trickier. Then goes ruckless Richmond. Then he goes into the Brodie Grundy matchup. Then he has West Coast. And we know what West Coast give up to ruck. So pretty decent run there besides the Brisbane matchup, say, for Gawn. But then Grundy, so he's got Wits this week, but we saw what Gawn did last week to Wits. Then he goes Briggs, which is okay. Then it could be a ruckless Western Bulldogs, because Tim English, I don't think he'll be back for that one. Then he's got Max Gawn, and then he's got Tristan Cherry, because Cherry will be back by then. So the run is slightly better for Gawn. Obviously, the ruckless Bulldogs matchup is good for Grundy. And I just wonder, I haven't been, besides this week, I haven't been convinced of Brodie Grundy, but he did play West Coast. So I'm trying to remember that he played West Coast, and that is always a great matchup for us. So,
sorry, my price hadn't updated. It's 210k difference. Brodie Grundy's under $1 million. I just think if I can get Brodie Grundy for 999k, I'm going to get Brodie Grundy for 999k. I'm quite confident on that. And I know this week the matchup's not great. It's Wits, even though Max did just keep Wits to a 40 and all the rest of it. But I think they're the only 2 options. I
think you go one to 2, right? And English is a must trade. And the only way that English is a must, well, I wouldn't say the only way English is a must trade, but even if you've got, say, McKendry on the bench, you got set and forget rucks, you could always just play McKendry on the field and go around, or you just go across to the other ruck that you don't have. So, but Gawn, obviously, Another huge score there. Jack Steele, he's been a fantastic pickup. And part of the reason, this is why I wanted the Crows to go after him, because I still think he had a lot in the tank, and he's got more than a lot in the tank. He looks fantastic again, 112, doing everything. He just getting his marks. He didn't rack up a huge, 16 Taezer last week. It was still another 8, 112. Yeah, he's going to continue to go well, I think, there. Tom Sparrow, 102. If you picked him up in draft, he's been a fairly good pickup last few weeks. I still don't think I'd go there in Classic. Cosy Pickett, 98. Tom, we both jumped on him last week.
Did. It's very nice.
He's got the Bombers this week.
He does. That's part of the reason why I brought him in, right?
Yeah. Then he goes Richmond, obviously, in a couple of weeks. He's got Brisbane, obviously, in between, but they don't tag. I think Cosy's going to have a fairly good year. I think he's in mid-90s. And I think we're pretty happy with bringing him in this week. What do we got here? Will Power, 89. If you jumped on him, you're fairly happy with that. But obviously, Rao is back. There is just who knows if Petrarca's back this week. I know he's pushing for gather round, so we'll see if he is back. Maybe Gold Coast with a loss maybe gets them to pull the trigger of a week earlier than maybe what they would have liked to. But we'll just have to see there as well. Will Powers, CBAs did take a bit of a decrease. Will Graham went above him for CBAs, and Toot Miller had a bit of a spike as well. Still 13, so still going to get forward status there as well. But yeah, just something to watch with that Gold Coast midfield. Lockie Goldman, 85, was solid. Noah Anderson, 77, just hasn't had a great year fantasy-wise to begin, so another poor score from him. Salem, 75. Windsor, 71. Got 7 tackles, which was a bit surprising. I haven't seen him get too many tackles, whatever, but I think he did last week, and he's backed up this week. So not a bad score there from him. I think he'll sit there. Toot Miller, 69. Disappointing. A few people would have jumped there this week. I was keen. The only reason I didn't was because I had too many round 12 buy players. And unfortunately did not reward coaches at all with the 69. But he will get forward status, so if you jumped on him, hold the faith. Zeke Yeldon with a 65 looked much better, much improved in this game. He got used a fair bit more. Still don't think we're jumping over to him as an option, but if you've got him, I think he would be a hold. Xavier Lynch, I think, has got to go. 54 again, and that was with Jath out. So he is a must-trade if you've got him. Lombard, 47, a little bit quieter there, but just ticks over a little bit of cash gen. And then Matt Rao with a 43. He's going to get cheap, so someone to watch. But with the rule changes, maybe he's not going to have that big of a fantasy game like he did the back half of last year there. Moving to the Bulldogs and Essendon game, obviously big story from this one here was the fact that Tim English went down with a knee injury. And first quarter was all right, Tom, 31, looking all right, but after that, just didn't look great. Like second quarter, Dogs just kept keepings off, just chipped it around, which was the worry with this matchup. But I just thought he would still be able to get on the outside, and then cop 2 pretty big hits in the third quarter. And obviously the one being the where his knee sort of twisted underneath him, and looks like an MCL injury there for him. So 3-6, I wouldn't be shot of as close to the 6. Must trade.
Mm-hmm. Just see the way he's walking today, going for his scan. He was still hobbling around today, so I think it's a must trade. I really wish there was somebody up and coming that you could make almost a proper downgrade from.
Well, Louis Emmett looks like he'll come in, but
yeah, no.
The only way you could do that is if you're going, say, if you've got, say, you already had Grundy English or Gorn English, and you wanted to just play McAndrew on field. You could take a flyer and go down to 230k ruck.
No, if you're set and forget rooks, you can definitely. That's what I would do. Is I would bring McAndrew on field and then use all of that lovely cash you're going to get to take one of your underperforming rookies up to a premium. That's exactly what I would do in that case. But if you're McAndrew R2, I think it's a premium sideways, which isn't. As we are now in upgrade season, it's not ideal.
Yeah, exactly. Archie Roberts certainly repaid the faith for those that started him. He had a lower score in the first game, obviously, because I think we can safely say that he was sick, even though it wasn't officially confirmed that he was with a low score, low tog. But since then, it's been fairly solid. But today was yesterday was the game where he really went off for a big score. 37 disposals with 12 marks, 136. Great score. If I was Essendon, I'd just keep him there, make him the number 1 distributing player because he's just a very good player. Ridley should be back this week from what Brad Scott was saying post-game, which could eat into some of his points. There he had the 5 kick-ins there. And shout out to Jackson Pryor, had 3 kick-ins, played on from none of them. So I haven't seen that for a while. But yeah, Roberts there could be a sneaky option, but trading in Essendon players does come a little bit with fraught with danger.
So
I think with what
it's very interesting. There was a distinct shift in game style after about quarter time in this game when they absolutely battered was Essendon. They started chipping the ball around the back line. They just would go no progress, but they were just taking time off the clock and chipping between their defenders. And as you saw, Jacob Farrow 101, Zach Reed 99, spending the end of the game with hamstring awareness off the ground. Zach Johnson 88, McGrath 80, Pryor 82. All of those guys in the back line for Essendon, all scoring well with high marks. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they continue this chip. We're rubbish, so we're going to try and make sure you don't have the ball to beat us by too much style, which worked. They only lost by about 40 points in the end. It was a respectable scoreline. So if that is the case, then people like Roberts are definitely an option in future weeks. I just want to see it one more time before launching it.
Yeah, exactly. Bont 130. That could have been a lot more. I think they still in the commentary halfway through the second quarter because he was on like 20 touches and he's never had a 40 disposal game, which is crazy to think that Bont has never had 40 touches. And I think and the commentator saying he's on world record pace. He's going to set records here, but then just didn't touch the ball for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So probably good for those non-owners because that was looking like a 180, 190 type score. So 136 though, 130, you more than take that considering the week that we had. And if you had him skipper and brought him in, you'd be very, very happy with that. Zach Merritt, 122. I think he's an option. I think he's less than midfielder you want. 122, he's got 3 tons of his 4 games. Decent run coming up. The flag would be maybe Tholstrup goes to him this week because it's a maybe Melbourne think they can, obviously they will think they can win this game. So maybe they send Tholstrup to him, but they didn't really tag this week. I don't think the Tholstrup. I don't think they tagged the week before much either. So maybe they're not going to do that tagging job moving forward, but I think Merritt is a solid option. He then has Gold Coast, Collingwood, Brisbane, GWS who don't tag. Freo might, then Richmond, West Coast. So I think it's a pretty good run coming for Merritt. Your thoughts on Merritt as an option?
He's awesome, and I probably should be keen on him than I am. I just don't want a bit of Essendon in the premium stakes. But
if you want one, I think if you want one, it's Merritt.
If you want one, it's Merritt by an absolute street. My one worry, if this chip continues, he's going to be almost a must-have because he's going to get some of that easy contested ball. He loves dropping back into the D50 to collect those +6s. So like he's definitely what's he priced at now? What we priced at
1.029, I think.
So he's definitely $1 million. He's definitely an option. If you're shopping for midfielders, he's definitely an option. I just don't I'm not a huge fan of getting players from bad teams, but he is definitely an option.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think one player that we'll be getting, even though he's from the Bombers, is Jacob Farrow. He's got such good ball use, 90% disposal efficiency from his 21 touches, scored the 101. They look for him in the chip mark games, or he gets into really good spots as well. Like he's always on the open side to get that switch kick. And if the Bombers are going to be doing this, then fantastic.
He's on field.
I think this week you can field him. For Melbourne this week, I think they're going to chip it around again. I think that they played much better doing that, so I think they're going to persist with it at least for a bit. Like if you've got a Tom Bemeyers on field, I'd put Jacob Farrow on field before him this week. 100%.
Yes.
Bemeyers went to a wing. He was one pro. He didn't mention scored the 55. He went to a wing.
Yeah, I agree.
Melbourne,
I agree against Melbourne. I really like the Melbourne matchup. They tend to give away lots of points to defenders. I definitely would do that, and I think I am doing that. So,
and if you've got him in your defensive bench, I think there's an argument to make you could field him over Lockie Jakes this week because Jakes has got Hawthorn, which is not great. But maybe you want Jakes just because he's pretty consistent. But there's a conversation I think there to be had if you wanted to think about that. But I think you in agreement that I think he's a must-have. I think you got to get him in this week. He's not must-have, right? But I think he's a very good option. And
he is the downgrade option this week. And with going that 3-figure score, his break even is now minus 22, priced at over 4. I mean, we've been here before. We've been here before last week.
I think this is very different.
Farrow's role is much better than Watkins' role. And as a result, I think this is the last week you can get him, in my opinion. If he, according to the site, if he goes 69, he'll go up 80k, and then he's nearly 500k and he's gone. So he's definitely the downgrade option if needed.
Yeah, and I said before as well, Essendon's got a pretty nice run coming up, so I think you can have some decent
a couple of
scores.
3 games, a couple of 3 nice 3 games.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need. That's probably what we need, right?
And then it gets real nice from round 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
Matt Kenny. If you jumped on him, was pretty good with his 109. There's 17 touches in the last quarter as well. By the way, just had too many handballs, I think, from that game. Sanders 109. If you jumped on him, is a bit of a unique. They'd be fairly happy with that, but more for draft. I think he.
Ed Richards is out for 2 to 6 weeks. nice narrow time slot.
Since when? Actually, that's a good question. Since when did the AFL teams, like, I know that they've never taken injury reporting seriously, which I think is just a pain for all of us. I think they should do it much like the NFL and that, where it's almost maybe not daily, but even every 48 hours, they've got to update if there's an injury or whatever. But alas, we go back to this. But 2 to 6 weeks. What is this? Like, really? Like,
yeah. Well, I think because it's something to do with his knee. I think it's one of those things that it could heal up well, or it could take a lot. It's actually probably more of an inaccurate time frame of they don't know how it's going to react over the next few days. But if he's out for longer term, there's definitely a spot in that, with Libber out as well for another couple. There's definitely a spot for these cheaper doggies who are going to get more opportunity. My one proviso is they have just played the easiest matchup in fantasy.
Yeah. So if you jumped on last minute to say Fraser or a Sanders, you'd be pretty happy moving forward with them. But maybe you don't jump on now. Hawks this week, tougher one. Sanders would be the one if you're looking, because with the bump in midfield time, you could go there. But yeah, it's interesting because what if Trelaw comes back this week? Maybe plays 60% TOG pure CBA role. That could be just something to watch there as well. Just before we wrap up this game, so Buderick 83 was solid again. Just keeps getting it done with just some solid scores. Jai Caldwell, I know we don't like trading our premiums out, but far out. Is this getting to a point where you have to trade? Like, he's getting so cheap that the value's gone of trading him at the high price, right? But it's just the low TOG is obviously a frustration. He did still actually he played 80% game time, so it's actually
80%. He's fine. Yeah, he will be an option again, but it's going to be an option again with probably an 8 in front of it. It's just
Do you hold if you're an owner?
No interest.
Do you just hold if you're an owner because, like, you sort of go, well, people are looking at him as an option, or if you've got the luxury, do you just go trade him out?
If you don't have an English and you've got nothing better to do, which I think you probably will do, then you can definitely trade that. But I think a lot of us are going to have things to deal with this week, which is a shame.
Yeah, Lockie Jake 67 was solid as well, just ticking over a lot of more cash. I think he's mid 500s now, so yeah, he's just going along very, very nicely there. Darcy Parish, got to go.
Yeah,
has to go. If you didn't trade last week in the hopes that you'd get a better score, I think he's just got to go. Absolutely has to go. Priority. If you've got English, you go down to Grundy, you go Parish up to someone, or you go to Jacob Farr if you don't have him, and you bank a bit of cash, but he has to go. Obviously, we talk about English. He's got to go as well. Blackiston, if you've got luxury as well, I think he's got to go. I think, like, we'll talk about trades after, but him to like a Farrow is a brilliant trade if you can make that happen. So that's something that I'll be definitely looking at doing this week. And if you can, I'd be doing that as well. And then Michael Seld as well dropped a low score as well. So he dropped a 26. If you'd say didn't have Blackiston, him to a Farrow would be another great trade. So if you want to do that, that's another good one. And final games we do wrap up is what a game of football. More teams need to be looking at this game. I know some teams can't play as good as this, but this was a great game of football. This is finals in April. It was absolutely brilliant. I don't know how Geelong and Hawthorn continue to have these close games, and Hawthorn got them back. Bartel kicked the point a number of years ago. Gunston kicked the point this year to get the win for the Hawks. So great game. Baz Smith 124. He dominated. He's just a very good footballer. So if you want to pay up for him, I'm not going to talk you out of it, but I know we're trying to probably look for value, maybe besides the rucks, but he was great. So if he jumped on him, he's very happy. Guesty jumped on Holmes and 108 was a solid score. Wasn't looking too good, I think, at halftime. I think he was on high 30s, low 40s, but he had a pretty good second half there of, 64 points. So good score from him. I think he's going to be a very good player. These rule changes suit him to an absolute T. He's going to keep going well. And Conor McDonald did again, 106. He did it again. So if you got him, you'd be happy. I can't believe I said, asked Liam a few weeks ago, is he a trade out on his buy because he doesn't have the role? Sometimes you don't need the role to be scoring well, which I should have known, but that was the comment by me. Who else we got here? Tom Stewart, 93, continues to do his thing. Tanner Brun, 89. His role was weird today, Tom. He was
He flitted everywhere. Yeah, he flitted everywhere.
Yeah, he started defense, then he went off on the bench, then he went onto a wing. Then I think he started the second quarter, it might have been on the bench, then he went forward, then he went off, then he went midfield. It was everywhere, right? But I think he looks good at half back, which is
I just think he's fine. I just think Geelong scored plenty of points. He's observable thirsty enough for now that you can hold him for a few more weeks.
Yeah, you're not.
I think he's going to. No, God no. And I think he's going to be one of those where we can do an upgrade and bank some cash later down the line. But he's absolutely fine for now. He's reset that break even, which is lovely. And that's all. That's what we're looking for. That break even is back. So the break even is at 42, and this is. He's got one subpar score before he's a trade out. I don't see him as I see him as about that 80 to 80, 85 guy. So if he goes 80, 85 for West Coast this week, he's good. He's the kind of player who will score really well because he will outwork some of our forwards into space, and that will lead to points.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So good score from him. Brian Myers saved that score a bit. So he scored the 80. So he scored the 85. He had 32 points in the last quarter. So back-to-back weeks of a big last quarter. Did have a fitness test pre-game. I think it was a bit of a knee concern they were testing out, but he obviously played and he was very, very quiet in the first half, but he looked fine in the last quarter. So if you've got him, there's no worries there. Just a lower one there, just with the bit of the concern pre-game there. Dylan Moore, 78. This is partly why we said there's going to be games where Conor McDonald goes big, games where Moore goes big.
I don't like Dylan Moore's role. Dylan Moore is playing much deeper forward. He's almost playing because they're trying to get Watson up the ground, they're trying to get Ginnivan up the ground, they're trying to get C-Mac up the ground. So one of those are going to play deeper. There's a crumbing foot, and too many times today I saw Dylan Moore. He's a great player, and he'll score. He'll score fine, but not score well enough in that 90-plus region where we need him to be a trade-in option. So he's fine. I've got him in draft leagues. It's fine. I just don't see him having that ceiling as a trade-in option. I wouldn't be trading out of him either, because that might change game to game depending on opposition and matchups and stuff. I don't really know what whatever AI tells Sam Mitchell to do, he'll do. So we'll go from there.
Yep, exactly. Sicily 66. Unfortunately, as good as Sicily is, I just don't think he's going to be a consistent option.
Shoulder.
Yeah, copped a shoulder injury late as well.
Yeah.
So that's just a watch if you do own him. But I don't know. He's a good draft option, I think. But in terms of classic, I just think that these half-backs are going 105, 110s average. Yeah. So I just don't think Sissy's going to get there. So I think if you're looking at him in classic, I just don't think we can go there anymore. I thought Flynn Perez looked all right. 58. I think he'll be out of the team, though, unfortunately, just with the depth that Hawthorn have got. But looked all right. Certainly a capable player if he's there as well. And Jack Dalton, who only scored 30, but I thought he looked pretty impressive. So just one to keep an eye on as a rookie downgrade at some point if he gets more games draft, I think if you've got keeper dynasty leagues, I think he's a good player. You could see he's certainly got a bit about him. But yeah, I think just with a few Hawthorn guys to come back, I don't know if he'll play a few games in a row. But
not enough. Like 30
no, it wasn't enough. He looked much better than the 30, though. I thought he had some really good moments, some good displays.
Early went missing for large swathes.
Yeah, when the game got hot.
But he's played his role to win the game.
Player. Yeah, exactly. And that's the games. So we'll be back tomorrow night. So there's a lot of questions in the chat here, which we do very much appreciate. But we'll answer all your questions live tomorrow night. Which, funny enough, this is a weird week because these 2 weeks are normally weird, right? Because we won't at this stage. I won't be on the pre-lockout chat. We may have a special one with Tom and Jordox there. So we might have something in store there, which if that happens, that'll be the first ever podcast that I'm not on the Fantasy Fanatics, which would be just is insane for me to think about. But stay tuned for that. We'll be live tomorrow night at the usual time, answering all your questions as we look forward to gather around. It's a big week, big week, particularly if you're in Adelaide as well. I think there'll be a few frothies being drunk by a lot of people. But we will go to our trade thoughts, what we're thinking of doing this week. So, Tom, what are you thinking of doing? Obviously, you've got the English bullet as well, but you've got Farrow, so you can make probably extra moves that a lot of people can't.
Yeah, so I've got Farrow. So I'm looking at doing English to Grundy. I'm lucky that I've got 600k in the bank carried over, and as a result, I'm going to get off the problem that is Darcy Parish and go up to a Finn Callahan.
Yep, I like it. Whitfield as well. You looked at Whitfield?
No, can do Whitfield if I want to. I at the minute prefer Callahan because I just don't quite love for half-backs. Owning Ash already.
There's
a couple of tougher half-back matchups coming in 2 and 3 weeks' time, and as a result, because GWS have got Sydney and North. Which are a little bit tougher for halfbacks. So I'm going to go for the midfielder, who I think with Finn Callahan, I think he could have, if he wants to have the run of the park against Richmond this week, he'll have it. And I've already got a bit of that GWS backline, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I like it. So I was looking to make some decent moves and use that 430k I had in the bank, and even tried Ty Gallup, which would have been nice, but unfortunately that is not the case. I do have the English move to make. So 200k is a lot. It's a lot of money. That's the difference between a mid price and a premium in a future week. So that's making it insanely tempting to go Grundy. So yeah, but I really want Gawn. I just think till the next 3 weeks, he could go astronomical. He's a VC captain option in those weeks, and with English out, that's one less captain option. So I just wonder if I go in that direction. It'd be one of those two, right? Grundy or Gawn. 1, 2. I really like Gawn. I want to pay up, but whether I got to be smart about it and just save 200k. So we'll see what happens there. And then the other trade at this stage will be a Lockie Blackiston will go to Jacob Farrow. I do have the DPP if I want to go Gallup out now, just get rid of the cheaper rookie and then get rid of Blackiston next week. That might be a play that I do look at doing. I've got Petrarca there, so I've got the ability to do Gallup out to a rookie. But yeah, if Petrarca's in this week, that'd be massive. I'd be very, very happy if that did happen, and for those that did hold. But that is currently what we're doing. I don't see me changing from those. It's just Gawn and Grundy. That's the question of the week. But that'll do us for another special Monday round review. So if you did enjoy it, as always, smash like on the video. It'd be very much appreciated. And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And if you do want a guaranteed answer to your AFL fantasy questions as well this week, head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. Had a few people sign up over the last few days there. So appreciate those new people that have jumped over there as well. Plenty of content will be going on over in the Patreon. But Tom, thanks for jumping on, mate. Where can the people find you across the socials? And for those that haven't done it already, where can they add your team? What's your team name for foes?
Yeah, if you want to see my Witches Hats of team, it's Palm United on foes. And you can find me on X at Tom_Hales_.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, mate. And you can find me at BAILSDT. Across the socials, you can find my team on foes, Bales Nails, and you can find us at AFL Fantasy Fans on X. We're back, as I said, tomorrow night for a Q&A, as always, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which will be 6 p.m. Perth time. So we're the Perth people, that's changed a bit as well there. So it'd be the hour hour later than normal, with only 2 hours difference between the eastern states and Western Australia. Still don't know why every state doesn't have daylight savings, but alas, we will move to tomorrow night, and then all the usual content will be throughout the week as we build up to a massive gather round. And if you guys are in gather round for the week, come and say hi. I'll be at the Traders Show on Friday, so looking forward to catching up with a few legends as well. Be all the games as well. Probably busy Thursday night because the Crows are playing, so I'll probably just be with the family, but should be a good weekend. But we'll chat to you guys tomorrow night. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Tough round again, but just let's keep pushing forward. We're all in the same boat. We'll keep moving forward together. And if you are ahead, keep making these moves to keep yourself ahead, because you've been going quite well so far. But thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll catch you guys tomorrow night for a Q&A. Thanks everyone. See ya.
Bye-bye.